Hey girl, seeing how the Mavs threw away Luka made me realize how foolish I was to throw away our love.
Oh. Hello there. I've dabbled in multiple different sports, just because I feel like it sometimes. And after recent events that have unfolded, it's probably a good excuse to talk about the NBA again. By the way, Synthetic Sports, if you're watching this, I've now made 2 NBA videos, and you guys have made 0 football videos. I'll be waiting. Patiently. While some of my audience already knows what's going on, the majority of you probably don't, so let's get into this, shall we? Since he was 7 months old growing up in Slovenia, Luka Doncic loved basketball. When he was 8 years old, he began his youth career at his hometown club, Union Olimpija. He represented them at numerous tournaments, put up some ridiculous numbers, and in turn won multiple Most Valuable Player awards. And this caught the eye of Real Madrid. Yes, even in other sports, we can't escape this hell. At just 13 years old, Luka signed a 5-year contract with the club, and after impressing consistently, he made his debut at 16 late into the 2015-16 season. In 2016-17, he was named Best Young Player in both the Domestic League and the Euro League after averaging 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and almost 8 points per game. For those of you who might be confused about how the European basketball scene works, I kind of just learned this. You have the Domestic League, which is pretty straightforward. There's also relegation in that, by the way. And then you have the Euro League, which is considered the highest tier of basketball in Europe. And it's basically a super league, as most of the teams there have long-term licenses to actually participate in said tournament. Anyways, Luka had a career year for himself in the following season. He averaged 16 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds per game in the Domestic League. That guided Real Madrid to a title, and he also won MVP. In the Euro League, he averaged similar figures and became the youngest ever MVP at just 19 years old. He also played a pivotal role in Real Madrid's Euro League title and won MVP after scoring 15 points in the final. Luka then took his talents to the NBA and was drafted 3rd overall by the Atlanta Hawks. However, he was then traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas had experienced an incredible beginning to the 2010s, with numerous deep playoff runs and an NBA Finals triumph over the Big 3 in Miami.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not
guess what day it is?
However, by 2016, all the pieces, including legend Dirk Nowitzki, were gone, and Dallas found themselves struggling significantly. 11th out of 15th in the Western Conference in 2016-17, and then 13th in 2017-18. In comes Luka Doncic, and he immediately shows an incredible amount of promise. In his first season, he won Rookie of the Year with 21 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds per game. He also recorded 8 triple-doubles for the season, 4th overall in the league, and that's really impressive for a rookie. A triple-double, by the way, is basically double figures in 3 different stat lines. So for example, 10 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. That's a triple-double. A double-double would be 10 points, 10 assists. Anyways, Dallas's record improved that year, but ironically enough, they finished worse in the conference. But in 2019-20, Luka had a breakout year for himself. The Slovenian averaged 9 assists, 9 rebounds, and 29 points per game. This guy is in his 2nd season, by the way. That, though, put him in the All-NBA first team, basically the basketball equivalent of the team of the season. And he also finished 4th in MVP voting. Once again, this is his 2nd season. Then came the playoffs, and during this period, you tend to see players ramp it up quite a bit, and Luka was no exception. He scored 42 points on his NBA playoffs debut, and then 6 days later, he dropped a 43-point triple-double and added a game-winning buzzer beater as a cherry on top. The Mavs, though, were eliminated in the first round, however. Luka's 3rd season saw similar numbers. He also became only the 4th player to record a 30-point triple-double with at least 20 assists. And again, at the end of the season, Doncic was in the All-NBA first team, and he finished 6th in the MVP voting. And once again, he helped the Mavs make it to the playoffs. In the first round, Dallas initially had a 2-0 lead in the series, but lost in Game 7 despite Doncic scoring a playoff-high 46 points and having also 14 assists along with that. 2021-22, Luka again averaged some spectacular numbers. His February, though, in particular, was just complete nonsense. He scored a career-high 51 points, and then just 3 days later put up another 45. And then just a few more days after that, he then sunk 7 3-pointers in a 49-point performance. I feel like the best way to describe that in football terms is if someone got a hat trick in like 3 consecutive games. That performance alone, by the way, forced an apology from the actual Suns franchise to their fans. In the conference finals, however, this would be the end of the road. Luka averaged 32 points throughout the series, but the Mavs would fall to the Golden State Warriors in just 5 games. And Luka would go on to finish 5th in MVP voting at the end of the season. 22-23 saw Luka average a career-high 32.4 points per game. That put him 2nd overall in the NBA. He recorded his 50th triple-double that season and became the 2nd fastest player to do so. And then the Slovenian went on to set a new career high of 60 points and 21 rebounds, becoming the first ever player to do that. Unfortunately, because the whole season derailed after the Mavs traded for Kyrie Irving, Luka only finished 8th in MVP voting that year. But no worries, because what about 33.9 points per game the very next season? This brother became a demon in 2023-24. 31 of the 70 games he played, he averaged 35 or more points. 13 of those games saw 40 or more. And then there was the game against the Atlanta Hawks when he dropped 73 points in Atlanta. You think the Hawks might be regretting their decision just like a little bit? Luka also became the 6th player to reach 10,000 points by the age of 25. And all of this put him 3rd in MVP voting. But he would have the last laugh in the playoffs. The Mavs looked much more complete than years past, more scores, Luka didn't have to do as much, and now his partnership with Kyrie was pretty lethal. First round, Dallas cooked the Clippers in 6 games. Conference semis, Dallas won in 6 over OKC, who were the 1st seed, which included 2 Luka triple-doubles. And this was pretty sweet for him since Student Government Association finished above him in the MVP voting. Then, in the conference finals, Luka's hate for French people took over as he single-handedly put an end to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Unfortunately, he and Dallas were no match for the Boston Celtics in the final, and they lost the series 4-1.
What they gonna say now? What they gonna say now?
What are they gonna say now? What are they gonna say now?
No surprises here, this man is a Duke kid. Kind of funny that one of the valedictorians from that school plagiarized a couple years ago too.
So far in 2024-25, Luka has been, once again, an MVP candidate. His averages have dropped a little bit, but his impact has been crucial because since Christmas Day when he got an injury, the Mavs have been struggling significantly. I mean, shit, man, they lost to the 14th placed Hornets.
Wait, hold on.
Shouldn't you be in jail? What the fuck are you still doing here?
It's fine though. Once Luka returns, this team will be back on track.
You've got mail.
What?
Last Saturday's show was, something. Initially when I saw this, I kind of just thought to myself, oh no, it's a fake account. No, that was real. That was all real. And the moment I knew, the very first thing I had to do was go and check our NBA Circle Jerk. And I wasn't disappointed. Because this is a football channel, it's probably good to maybe explain a little bit more about this, and I'll keep it as simple as possible just to not confuse you guys. So here we have 2 parties, the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers. Dallas just gave the Lakers Luka Doncic, and in return, Dallas receives Anthony Davis and a 1st round pick. Oh yeah, apparently Utah was in this trade too, but I mean, I wouldn't worry about them. But to give you some more context, this whole video has literally been talking about a consistent MVP candidate who is in the prime of their career. And Dallas just gave that player away for someone who is still a fantastic player, but is also A, 31 years old, and B, made out of glass. But just talking about the players that have been traded in this deal doesn't really explain the pure magnitude of this trade. Because Dallas prior to this trade had a good amount of time to win a chip. Good role players, Kyrie and Klay Thompson, and of course an MVP candidate to complete it all. By making this trade though, they have shrinked that window of opportunity significantly. Because while Kyrie, Klay, and Anthony Davis are all fantastic players, maybe Klay's a little washed, but the other 2 are still very good, they're all above 30 years old. Meanwhile, the Lakers now have an MVP candidate and LeBron fucking James. Now, being on the football side of all of this, I've seen some wild comparisons. And it makes sense because no one there actually watches basketball. Now, I personally think if you were to make a similar comparison, I would say this is like trading Vinny Jr. for Virgil van Dijk. Vinny is only just reaching his prime years, is actively a top 5 player in the world right now, and came very close to the Ballon d'Or last year. Meanwhile, Virgil van Dijk is, just like Anthony Davis, still a fantastic defender, but he is 33 years old. It's either that, or maybe Lautaro Martinez for Virgil van Dijk. Lautaro has been lethal for Inter, he's in his prime, and by trading him away, Inter lose a lot more than if Real was to give up on Vinny. Now, I'm starting to actually lean more towards Lautaro Martinez. I think it just makes more sense because Inter, I would say, is around kind of the same status as like a Dallas Mavericks. They also have a lot of good players, but not something like a Real Madrid where you still have Rodrigo, Mbappe, Bellingham. And considering the whole idea of Liverpool getting a striker like that, they would be incredible. And then if you have Virgil van Dijk joining Inter, yeah, it's really good. They have another very fantastic defender, but they do lose a big part of their attack. Not to say that Liverpool aren't losing anything here, it's Virgil van Dijk. That's literally their best defender. But I think still Inter has more to lose here. But it still doesn't really make sense. Why the hell would a team make such an insane decision like this? Well, Dallas general manager Nico Harrison, the guy who facilitated this and who will probably have to be a little more alert on the streets of Dallas now, said, quote, "I believe defense wins championships." Didn't Luka just lead the team to a final like a season ago? You know what's crazier though? Not only did we not see this coming, neither did Luka. And this isn't just me saying like a rumor or whatever. This is coming from Nico Harrison himself. And it's not like Luka wanted to leave either, because just a week prior, he bought a new $15 million house. This man was done so dirty, and for what reason? Because he's fat? Brother, he's scoring 28 on a night-by-night basis.
What's up, Laker fans? I'm in LA. Excited to meet you all.
Look in my brother's eyes. There's nothing behind them anymore. Here I was thinking that it would take a free agency or the biggest blockbuster trade imaginable to see Luka move to another team. But no, I guess I was wrong.
Sound fair enough?
Shit, my wife might divorce me, but yeah, let's do it. Oh, yeah.
I just can't believe it, man. The Lakers have another generational superstar, and they didn't even have to lift a finger. Again! I fucking hate California, man. The reactions to this trade have been so cathartic, though. You got Dallas fans mourning as if they've lost a loved one. They've also probably felt like a knife has been just stabbed straight into their backs. I mean, already the Cowboys were doing so poorly, and now this just had to happen. I mean, I feel bad for Dallas fans. I think it's actually just insane as well, the fact that I don't think anyone besides Nico Harrison knew, because even the club's kind of panicking right now. Like, they're trying to refund fans for season tickets. Like, all around, it is just an absolute mess. But everything was just so sudden. Like, no one saw this coming. Say that again? What? What? No one saw this coming? I fucking hate Fabrizio Romano. Don't get me wrong, when he first appeared, I loved hearing real confirmations about a player coming to my club, especially as a victim of the Benzema Arsenal ordeal when I was a gullible 15-year-old. But it's like we've just kind of gone back to square one though, because as opposed to 70 different rumor sites entirely fueled by agents who just want to make it seem like their players are getting calls, there's just one reliable source now. And he also spews all the rumors and will lick the ass of any single club or agent that pays him enough money. I mean, how many times do I have to hear about Jonathan David being linked with 27 trillion clubs? Will he ever make a move? It doesn't seem like it. And what do you mean you're posting about Mason Greenwood and his presentation at Getafe? And then, like a season later, you tell us that he's won the Getafe Player of the Season. Since when does anyone give a shit about Getafe other than deranged people in Lagos in Southeast Asia? This dude also just blatantly copies from other journalists who unraveled this stuff and then just posts it in some shitty engagement bait. It was only inevitable. I understand this is the game, but it doesn't mean I gotta respect it or the guy who is so obviously on Saudi Arabia's payroll. But the one thing that pisses me off the most about this is something that I've realized I've taken for granted. There was a charm to all those shitty sources and complete uncertainty about a player moving somewhere. Because when we sift through all the bullshit and then finally witness a player actually make a move, it just feels rewarding in some sense. Also, because of Fabrizio, we can't fucking breathe for a second, man. I always gotta hear about what stage of the deal they're at, what day they're gonna take a medical, when's the last time in their old apartment they'll jerk off. We just don't have bombshells like the NBA. I'll never forget, and this was so painful back then, but it's all part of the experience. When Van Persie, out of completely nowhere, went from Arsenal to Manchester United. Or when Ozil signed for Arsenal. In that era, Arsenal were not known for spending money on players, like, at all. So when Wenger gave that little smirk and then the news came out, it was just so unexpected. And again, that's just the shit we are missing right now. But it doesn't even have to be blockbuster signings. I just want raw emotion again. There was that one time many years ago when Peter Odemwingie was trying to force a move to QPR and actually pulled up to the club's office. He even did interviews from inside his car, but the funny part about all of this was QPR denied him entry into their office. That Luka bombshell made me truly realize that football transfer windows are just not that fun. I mean, like, they might be fun if you only watch football, but if you watch other sports, those insane bombshells that just pop out of nowhere from the NBA, the NFL, or whatnot, they just make the whole product so much more entertaining as a whole. I mean, we're always spoon-fed shit months before anything even happens. Sometimes I'll see rumors directly after the summer window about what's going to happen in January. It's annoying. We've traded away uncertainty for clarity, and it sucks because player transfers of any sport for the fans isn't about order. There's enough of that in the game. Embrace the shitty rumor sites. Embrace the chaos. I know this will literally change nothing, but when has a YouTuber complaining on the site ever actually changed anything? Exactly. But what do you guys think about this trade? Let me know down in the comments. Also, tell me what the best football equivalent comparison would be. Maybe it isn't Lautaro Martinez and Virgil van Dijk. Maybe it isn't Vinny Jr. and Virgil van Dijk. Just don't say Lamine Yamal because it's not Lamine Yamal. Don't say that. But of course, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Baras, Luke RBB, Brazilian Fury, Jeremiah Owusu Ajimang, Django, Anazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Ulta, Miguel Munoz, Return Fire, Rory Burns, Slider Kid, Takoka Fan, The Cypriot 35, Not Windows 95 Man, Kentra Agatra, St. Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Wise Orange, Rashford Enthusiast, Cocosaurus Rex, Samu, Cheesebait, Winder Gel, M4 Does Stuff, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portugizer, TPSA 25, Polar Protos, Von Fan, Lucian Von Kreuz, Gazagish Breshakivix, Monotango Faye, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Mud Tanai, Sketchy Card, AM89, Apollo, Congo Jas 1, German Sayu 7th, Thrilling ADT 13, Los Milos, Petrus 249, Freya, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Kress, Mohammed Al Tanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Broken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. I will be doing a Daytona 500 watch-along stream on February 16th. You don't want to miss out on that, but until then, I'll see you guys.